Well, Emma, you've signed now for another 2 years. It's something we haven't seen often. We see a lot of your teammates head off to Europe and get picked up by some of the Pro 14 teams. What made you stay?
I mean, Bloem is a lovely place. I think I came out of school and I think we sell this picture to the younger guys. Listen here, play for 2 years, become a bok, never work again, retire at 32 and go live somewhere on the beach. And I think that's the illusion. So I was in Pretoria for 5 years, learned a lot, and when I moved to Bloem, I think I found peace and I found a place where I want to live and where I'm happy. I have great friends and where I want to raise a family. And the rugby is great as well. So I think if you're always going to chase the highs of rugby, I think you're going to be at a lot of different unions because it's such a up and down game. And in Bloemfontein, I found a place where I'm happy and where I really feel that we have the potential to play in an overseas tournament, but still live in Bloemfontein. So obviously, we want to be the best team we can be, and I wish a bunch of my friends would stay with me there for the next 2 years as well.
You just look at it, I mean, the way Pro 14's, you guys were almost thrown into Pro 14, to put it bluntly, but the way the competition's developed, you guys have slowly found your way through it, playing well at home, still struggling a bit overseas to get those wins. Where do you think you guys are missing to just take that next step up?
So I think what we must remember is the team that played in the previous Pro 14 actually played 3 full Super Rugby seasons as a team, 3 full Currie Cup seasons as a team. So our first Pro 14 season was actually our 3rd season together as a team. Where now we are a brand new team. Now everybody's saying you did so well last year. Why aren't you maintaining that ability? And I say, look at us again in 2 years. I think the structure of the Pro 14 is if we can win all our home games and be 2 teams away, we'll be in the playoffs. Now we slipped a couple of games at home against the quality Glasgow team. I mean, we drew in the last minute against Ulster, and I know we don't want to make excuses, but that's the reality of the matter. So, I mean, everybody said in the media conference, long-term goals, long-term relationship. I mean, Toyota's been with us since, 2011. I wish we have the ability to keep our players in Bloem for longer periods of time. I mean, that's the ultimate Free State story. Is guys are born and bred there, and then after 3 years they get taken away by a bigger union. And how are we going to stop that? That's the big question. And I hope with partnerships like we've had with Toyota now, we have the ability to say, listen here, these are our team. For the next 3 or 4 years, we're going to build them, keep them in Bloemfontein. Because as we've seen with the 2016 Currie Cup, if we get guys together for 2 or 3 years, we get the results.
I mean, you talk about, I just want to go back to the staying in Bloemfontein, please, because along the way we keep on getting, as you say, you get sold this story about you go make millions overseas and all this, and we keep on hearing about this exodus after the World Cup. A lot of guys are going, and it's now, I'm sure you hear from other players, and all the unions, everyone's talking about where they're going to be next year. You've done the opposite now. Do you think that mindset is starting to change? Are you happy, but do you see it changing amongst your teammates, or do you think there's still a thing to go overseas and get that money?
So I think everybody's race is different. I mean, some guys really want to go overseas, maybe for the experience. Some guys has to chase the money. I wish, and it's a lot of I wishes, but I mean, things are changing, and I hope it's changing for good. But I mean, if you take a union like the Lions or the Cheetahs or the Bulls, it's unacceptable for guys whose contracts ending in 3 or 4 months and they still don't know or don't have an offer on the table. I mean, then you're forced to look around. I mean, if you have a look at our guys who left, their contracts were ending in June, and by February, the unions only started speaking to them. Now, I know there's a gentleman's agreement or there's this rule, other unions can't speak to you 4 months before your contract ends, but I mean, nobody adheres to that requirement. I mean, if you look at the guys going overseas now, they're announcing it now, but their contracts are ending in October. I mean, so I think it comes from 2 ends. One, the unions must be able to offer financial stability over a longer period of time and earlier in your contract. I mean, if you look at a guy like Walt Steenkamp, in a year when his contract ends, we probably will struggle to keep him in Bloem. But I mean, we know what kind of guy he is, we know what he offers. We must be able to offer him a contract now for the next 3 years, because I mean, he's a young upcoming guy. He works hard. So keeping him in Bloem now. Don't wait till 4 months before his contract ends and open everything up. Then you're creating division in his head as well. So I think from the union side, they need to give us better clarity. And from player side, yeah, I mean, how much money is enough money? I mean, if you have 2 paid off cars and a paid off house and 10 million rand in the bank, do you think you're never going to work again? And that's the question I asked myself, is that enough money? And so I said, I'll rather stay in Bloem now and maybe earn a little bit less money, but meet a lot of people, get settled in a town, because the ultimate challenge for a rugby player is life after rugby, and I think it hits us hard. So rather now start working on, listen here, this is my place, this is my friends, this is my connections, and what can I do now to make my life after rugby just not worse than my life with rugby.
Other than the contracts and obviously the long-term stability, I suppose money is obviously the key thing that has everything, but is there anything else that the unions and SA Rugby you think can do better to make it easier with that decision for players?
I just think stability. I mean, how's it possible? Let's say I go to the Free State now and I say I want to sign a 5-year contract. Now, they will say they can't because they don't know how their budget is going to be like for the next couple of years. So I feel that we need to have financial security for the next 3 or 4 or 5 years. Let's take a guy like Peter Steff. Let's say he wants to stay in Cape Town for the next 5 years. Will Western Province be able and in a position to actually offer him a 5-year deal? I don't know. And if you look at Sale, they've signed guys for 5 years now. Owen Farrell is signed for 5 years with Saracens. Why can't we offer our players the same long-term stability? So I think that's number one, and just number two is clarity regarding the contracting model. I mean, we've heard a lot about it, and I think I'm a supporter of it, just because I think there's going to be less guys coming out of school who's going to just disappear in the system, and by 24 don't have a degree and don't play rugby anymore. I think that's worst case scenario. So I think that's going to be eliminated, but we need clarity about what's going to happen going forward, and a decision needs to be made.